Hey party people, welcome back to BP Fun. I'm your boy Captain Zeus here with our fellow party goer. I don't know what to call us. But we got Lucky here. Party guy, yeah. We got Lucky here. And over the past few weeks, there's been the confirmed news of our DCU Green Lanterns who have been casted in the universe. And we're going to go ahead and talk about them real quick. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more nerdy content like this. Click the bell to be notified if you want to see us post any other nerdy video. And let us know in the comments below your thoughts on these DCU Green Lantern castings. As we all know, in the James Gunn Superman DCU movie, we have Guy Gardner in there, who has been casted by Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion's playing Guy Gardner, which is a bit of an interesting take. But on the flip side, on the HBO original DCU show, Lanterns, we have Kyle Chandler casted as our older, more middle-aged Hal Jordan, as well as Aaron Pierre to be casted as the younger John Stewart in the show. Now, for those of you that don't know what the show is going to be about, it's essentially just True Detective in space. They said it's going to be a dark, gritty, space cop type of show, and it's going to follow Hal Jordan training a young John Stewart to be the next Green Lantern. I'm guessing he's going to be the one to take care of this sector. More details, I'm sure, is to follow, but that's basically all we know about it right now. And I mean, I feel like some people have some mixed feelings about it. I overall think this is pretty freaking dope. Kyle Chandler's a really good actor. You know, he's been in the game for a while. And him as Hal Jordan, or an older Hal Jordan, is kind of perfect. I never would have thought about it at first, but the more I think about it, the more I realize he fits it very well. I just watched Zero Dark 30 not too long, like a couple of days ago, and I was like, dude, he's got it. He's got this. No probs. Now, my issue with it is his contract does not extend outside of the show, so he might die in the Lantern show, or maybe he's just not set to reprise his role anymore. I don't know, but I hope they extend his contract so he can be in other movies and shows. But I like him in the role of Hal Jordan. Aaron Pierre, I don't really know much about him. I heard he's on the Underground Railroad miniseries on Prime, as well as popping up in M. Night Shyamalan's old movie. He looks the part. A lot of people were complaining about the tone of his color, of his skin, which I'm like, that's a little bit nitpicky, guys. He's a good actor. He looks the role. Just take it. Stop complaining about stuff. But I think he looks good for the role. I'm excited to see what these guys got. What are you thinking, Lucky?
Yeah, I mean, I did see Aaron Pierre in Old, so I do have, I guess, a little bit more context behind him. I did enjoy him in M. Night Shyamalan's project. I do also, to your point, Zeus, I loved Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. I think he could be not only comic relief, but kind of be that parental-esque figure for John Stewart in the show. And overall, my biggest takeaway on this is, like, I love the fact that it's a show. I love that they're not trying to make it a movie, in my opinion at least. As much as I love the DC universe, as much as I love the comics and the animated series and stuff, Green Lantern, like the whole Lanterns sector type deal, it's a little bit boring. Like, when you think of the grand scheme, they are space cops. You know what I mean? Like, it's so for it to get a show instead of like try to make it like a big budget. You saw that with Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? Like the big budget movie that went completely down the drain. I'm excited to kind of see it get more of a gritty show and a darker tone. I feel like you can expand on these characters better as well, where, you know, you can get into more details about like the Sinestro Corps. You can get into more details about other Green Lanterns and other sectors by doing this. Whereas when you try to make a movie, there's too much going on, especially for what the story that they want to tell. I feel like it would get too in-depth into, here is Hal Jordan trying to bring up John Stewart, but then on top of it, we're trying to introduce the other Green Lanterns, and we're trying to introduce you to the Sinestro Corps, and we're trying to fit it into the grander scheme of like the DC universe. I've been saying this for years. I feel like this is what the MCU should have done with the Nova Corps. I feel like they should have done like a show on Disney Plus and made it like a separate type thing, so that when John Stewart is ready, when you feel like his character is flushed out and fans appreciate him, hopefully, you know, as long as it goes according to plan, Aaron Pierre, hopefully you kill it, man. Once you understand his character more and there's that kind of tie to him, then they can introduce him into like a Justice League type film or, you know what I mean, do more with him in the big, large scale type thing. But first, let's get to know Jon Stewart. Let's get to know Hal Jordan. Let's get to know Guy Gardner. You know, let's see the Lantern Corps kind of be its own thing for a second, and then we can go different places with it once we understand this, though. Let's not try to do too much. Let's do a show. I feel like it just fits better for the Lanterns.
You know, you bring up a really good point. I never really thought about it like that. I don't agree that the Green Lanterns is boring. I always was a fan of the Lantern stories, whether it's following Hal, Kyle, Guy, John, whatever. I always found it super fascinating. Now, I think the point I do agree with is the fact that if you do a show, you know, an HBO original, larger budget show that's probably like 8 to 10 episodes, 40 minutes to an hour long, you know, you could introduce more characters. You can, you know, get a better story with a lot of these side characters than you would in a big budget film. So in that aspect, I definitely do agree with, because you see it a lot with kind of some of what Marvel has done with their, you know, MCU TV show projects. You know, it's a lot more detailed with the writing, and you can do more with a show than you can with a movie, and vice versa. There's pros and cons to each. My big sell, the big thing that I'm excited for, and the only reason I'm super interested, is them saying this is like True Detective. I love True Detective. Seasons 1 through 3 are amazing. Season 4, in my opinion, garbage, trash. Not a fan of it. Season 1 was fantastic. You have a great cast with it. Same thing with seasons 2 and 3, all done by the same guy. And if that, in my mind, if we have this, where you have twists, you have some kind of flashbacks, there's a lot of story connecting and development and breakdowns. Like, if we're getting that in a Green Lantern show on HBO, meaning if it's on HBO, it's going to be way more mature. So we're going to see some gore, maybe some more explicit scenes, stuff you wouldn't see on, you know, Cartoon Network for Justice League Unlimited. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get into stuff that the DC universe couldn't usually explore. Like, that's the kind of mindset I get, and that's the stuff I'm like, dude, that is what's interesting for me. And I feel like that has a ton of potential. And it'd be cool to see, like, season 1 at the end, John's basically like come to his own, or it's at the point where maybe he's getting recruited by the Justice League, or maybe he's getting a call to come back to Earth, whatever the case, and we'll see him in a Justice League movie or a crossover type of movie like the Avengers, and then season 2 takes place afterwards, kind of like what would happen with the singular movies in the first 2 phases of the MCU, where he's kind of going back and forth. We'll see him in the big projects for the group team ups, and then we're going back to, you know, the True Detective, back to being the space cop type of stuff for the HBO show. So I have a lot of hopes for it.
Well, let me just I guess kind of reestablish what I mean by boring, because my initial saying was it's boring, but overall what I kind of mean to say in saying that is not necessarily that the Lanterns are just overall boring, because to your point, they have some really kick-ass stories. They have a lot of really cool adventures to them, and the fact that they're galactic space investigators, cops, you know what I mean, that like go around and basically like watch over different sectors of the galaxy is really sick. It kind of meant in more of the sense of like Superman needs a movie. An alien dude who comes down and is made of steel, like Man of Steel, obviously. Batman is going to get like a movie. Lanterns, to me in my head, when I think about a universe, just works better in like a show. Because to your point, you do get to flush out more of the side characters. Like you see that with Penguin. You see that with getting to meet the Falcone family, not just the head guy, but like the Falcone family. You get to see different henchmen. Well, you know, you were introduced to like Penguin's sidekick early on, Mick. You know what I mean? Not to get into anything if y'all haven't seen it, but the idea of like getting to explore these characters more in depth through that kind of storytelling, I feel like it just makes sense, especially when the direction is we're going to go with a young Jon Stewart, and he's going to be kind of trained into it. And maybe like in the Lanterns, that doesn't mean that it won't all come together at some point, because to your point, I would love to see like maybe Jon Stewart and Hawkgirl's relationship. I know in the animated series, like you could see how that kind of comes to fruition. Maybe towards the end of the season, like he's developing this kind of kinship with Hawkgirl, or you know what I mean? There's so many different things that you can do in a show that you don't necessarily get the grace of in a movie because you only have so much time to tell it. In a show, you can flush it out and go season by season. And then, like you said, have them in a Justice League movie or have them pop up in a DC movie and it makes sense. Then after that big movie is done, he goes back to, there's another season of Lanterns maybe. He might be grappling with the effects of the movie in Lanterns. And you know what I mean? And that's what his new kind of issue is or what he's got to work through.
No, I get you. And, you know, it kind of literally in my head, it popped up where it'd be cool in like season 2 or 3 of Lanterns. John gets to train a young Kyle Rayner. I think that would be cool too, you know, getting introduced to him. And we know Kyle's super strong. He's held like every single ring. The White Lantern ring is what he was really known for a good while during Rebirth, if I remember correctly. Like having Kyle's character being introduced means like there's going to be a lot of different stories to be opened up. But that's just a sidetrack. That'd be cool to see. And I think it'd be funny to see him have a romance with like just some random alien species. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not, it doesn't even last long. Like he pulls a Hal Jordan, maybe Hal takes him to like some kind of alien red light district or something. And he's like, you know, we're undercover. We gotta sleep with these aliens to freaking to find our next clue. Like, and that's the kind of stuff you could see being super funny, but also like super like mature because of it being DC and on HBO. Like there's a lot of potential with the show, and I'm honestly just I'm really hoping that it goes good. I have a lot of hopes for it.
Absolutely. And we've seen what James Gunn has done when he explores the universe before. Guardians of the Galaxy. We know that he understands Galactus, you know, not Galactus, but like like universe type travel and like that whole kind of vibe that goes into different planets that they would potentially visit. Like we've seen him do not the same thing before, explore like the universe before. And I think that will pay dividends hopefully in the Lantern series because of kind of his knowledge of how he was able to give different planets, different personalities, and different types of people in Guardians of the Galaxy that paid off, I feel like, really, really well when he was with the MCU. So that's another thing too. We could see Martian Manhunter in our Lanterns episode. There's so many different ways that it can go, and that, to your point, is what makes it so exciting. Is like there's so many different stories you could tell with it instead of kind of pigeonholing him into a movie that's like a coming of age movie. We get to see him throughout like an episodic timeline go through whatever the duration or timetable is of that season, and we just kind of get to see it go instead of, hey, I'm training this new Lantern, here's a 2-hour movie, 30 minutes in the world's gonna be destroyed if you're not a Master Lantern. If you're not a White Lantern in 25 minutes, we're doomed, buddy. It's kind of cool. Like we'll get to see the council, I'm sure, maybe play with that dynamic and how Jordan likes them, but also there's like a little bit of, you know what I mean?
Dude, the council sucks. They freaking are dicks,
council
man.
sucks. Hopefully we get to see that though. Like actually get to dive into that kind of stuff instead of them just being blue people that we see on screen for 3 minutes. That'd be kind of cool to have like an episode of why the council yeah, that's what I mean. Like get to see the whole kind of totality of Lanterns. And I think that's also going to make Green Lantern fans super excited and super happy. The fact that it's more of a flushed out deal instead of it being a pigeonhole hour and 45, 2-hour movie.
And to wrap this video up here, because, you know, time, I will say that I think this could reignite the passion for the Lantern stories and for fans, because let's think about it, Green Lantern fans haven't really had the best track record of representation on the screen. You know, you had the Ryan Reynolds movie, which is known for being garbage. You had great stories in the, you know, Justice League series, but granted, it was in a Justice League series. And then they did have the 3D animated Green Lantern series on Cartoon Network, which I never watched because I can't stand that animation. But you know, it's nice to see that they're, in terms of like chapter 1 of the DCU, they're up on the forefront. They're one of the first projects getting worked on next to Superman, which Superman is obviously, no matter where you are in DC film, it's always the first step. He's always the face. And to see we're getting a Lantern show being worked on at the same time as, you know, Superman, at the same time of Creature Commandos, it's like it shows that there's love and passion for these characters and for this universe that we hadn't seen previously. No disrespect to anyone that was trying to, you know, make a universe, nothing towards Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan, any of them. No, it just shows that the next steps are going to be something to look forward to.
And it shows that he knows what he's doing a little bit. It's got to bring so much joy, to your point, for like Green Lantern enthusiasts. Because, like, again, not hating on Zack Snyder. I enjoyed a lot of Zack Snyder's Justice League, especially his cut. But Green Lantern wasn't even in that. And
Well,
that's not
no,
a diss.
there was a Green Lantern in there.
Yeah.
And then Jon Stewart was supposed to be in the end credit scene, but Warner Brothers made him, for some reason, made him cut it out.
It's not, that's what I mean, like, it's not Zack Snyder's fault, per se. That has to feel terrible for, like, super big Green Lantern enthusiasts and fans and stuff, especially when you find out that, like, Warner Brothers made him cut it out. That's gotta feel kind of crummy. The fact that they're getting that much attention on it and, like, they're really honing in on it, like you said, they're in works with it. There's gonna be a Lanterns project in the new DCU before Batman the Brave and the Bold comes out. That's pretty killer, in my opinion, that you get that much love from the new head. It just shows an appreciation for the universe in whole, and it's not just like a money grab type scheme where let's get Superman out there, let's get Batman out there, let's throw in a sexy Wonder Woman. That's gonna do it for us. You know what I mean?
Let's
like,
be honest, Wonder Woman's always sexy. It's not even a question.
Always. It's not even a diss at her. It's not even a diss.
Muscle mommies for the win, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
My Rhea Ripley's out there.
Big Ripley guy.
Yeah.
Big Ripley guy.
Big Ripley fan.
Right there. But yeah, it's got me excited because I feel like this universe is going to be made with love. That's something that I feel like has been lacking a little bit. And whether you love James Gunn or whether you don't love everything that he does, you can't deny that he's doing this out of pure love for like the comics. And you can see that in his responses, and you can see that in the way that he's approaching it. So hopefully the love pays off and it produces a good product. That's all we're waiting on now. The hard part's over, guys. It's here. You know what I mean? It's just, how's it going to turn out?
Well, nevertheless, I'm excited. I know Lucky's excited, but are you excited? Let us know in the comments below you guys' thoughts on the casting for the Lantern series and just your thoughts on how the DCU is looking for their first chapter, which is like the MCU's first phase, but it's different. It's unique. Anyways, Lantern's coming out hopefully in the next 2 years. I don't know when they're going to start filming, but I know for a fact I'm going to be all over that show when it comes out. Anyways, I'm Captain Zeus. That was Lucky, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.